Assalamualaikum student, welcome back on my channel. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today the discussions related to the chapter number 8, and the chapter number 8 we will cover the t-test hypothesis testing with the help of t-test here. Okay, and in the previous lecture or in the classroom lecture, we have already discussed the t-test and the z-test and so on. So again I am just going to explain okay, how you will apply the t-test here. So first of all, there are some standard and the criteria okay, how when you will apply the t-statistics or hypothesis testing with respect to the t-test. Again here there are different hypotheses are here. You will have H naught null hypothesis, okay, and similarly H1 is alternative. Okay, so there are the two hypotheses. Again, you will have to check the t calculated value, or you have to compare the t calculated value with reference of the uh, t critical values, yani tabulated value. Okay, and now again here you will have x bar is sample mean, and mu is population mean, s standard deviation, and similarly n is number of sample. Okay, in case of the t-test, the number of samples should be less than 30. N should be less than 30 for t-test. We have already discussed in the classroom. Okay, so now we have to calculate the t calculated value with help of these numbers or the given informations, and then we will compare the t calculated value with reference of the t critical value. Okay, first of all, in case of the t critical values, you need to find out the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom, that is df. So what about the df is here n minus 1. Okay, n minus 1 is degree of freedom. So now how you will find out the tabulated or the critical value of t. You will have this kind of the table. It is alpha. 1%, 2%, 5%, so on 10%. That is degree of freedom. What? 1, 2, 3, and so on. Clear? For example, you will have the degree of freedom is 9. Assume कर रहा हूं. Okay, degree of freedom is 9. Alpha is 5%. Okay, degree of freedom is 9. Alpha is 5%. So you will select this value. What about this value? Okay, so you will select this value. Now look at this question. A researcher claims that adult hogs fed a special diet will have an average weight of 200 pounds. एक researcher ने now there is a claim that adult hogs fed a special diet will have an average weight of 200 pounds. उसका average weight जो है 200 pounds है. A random sample of 10 hogs. Okay, उसने कहा average weight of hogs what was the 200 pounds and the random sample of hogs of 10 hogs is the sample is 10 hogs. Okay, so n is 10 here, has an average weight of 198.2 pounds and a standard deviation is 3.3. Alpha is 0.05. It means that it is 5%. Can claim be rejected? Also find 95% confidence interval for true means. You have to find out two things here. First of all, you have to check the hypothesis with respect to the t-test. Similarly, you have to define or calculate a confidence interval with respect to the t-test or t-calculated value. Clear? So now in our question, n is first of all solution here degree of freedom n minus 1. N is 10 minus 1 equal to 9. Okay? Degree of freedom is 9. Alpha is 5% because of 0.5. This one. Okay? This is. And now find out the t critical values. What? 5%, comma 9. 5%, comma 9. That is critical value. What is the critical value? 9 and 5%. According to the table, you can check from the T table as well. That critical values is 2.26. 2.26. Okay. Look at degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is 9 and move towards the 5%. 5% is 2.26. And similarly, if you will have the alpha is 2% or degree of freedom is 10, so move here 10 and select 2 is here and then pick out this value. Clear? So same things you can apply for other values of degree of freedom as well as for alpha here. And now this value is 2.26. Okay. And what about your H naught? H naught is here. Mu equal to, it is population mean. Okay. 200. And second one is that mu does not equal to 200 because it is kind of the two-tailed test. There is no less than and greater than. Clear? No less than and greater than. So what about the H1 is here? H1 is here, mu not equal to 200. Okay? Mu equal to 200. Mu not equal to 200 because null hypothesis, remember always we write with respect to population mean. We don't write with respect to other things or the sample means. Sample means yani हम हमेशा we write a alternative and the null hypothesis with respect to the population means. Okay, nothing else. So now the population means is 200 pounds and what about the sample mean? sample mean is x bar, which is equal to x bar 198.2. N is 10. Okay. What about the standard deviation? Standard deviation in your questions is what? 3.3. So standard deviation is 3.3. Calculate t value. T value is what? X bar is minus mu divided by s upon n. So it is x bar is what? 198.22 minus what? 200 divided by 3.3 divided by 10. So now your answer is, I have calculated already. Your answer after calculation is minus 1.72. You can calculate yourself as well. Minus 1.72. Okay. Now the minus 1.72, clear? So you can draw a critical region and the acceptance region for H0 and H1, whatever, clear? So we are plotting here. First of all, either we are able to reject null hypothesis. Okay. So now look at this one. This T calculated, T less than what? T 5% comma 9. Okay. T is less than this one. 5% comma 9. Okay. And it is less than this one. Okay. So in case of two tail, what you will have? Plus minus for two tails. Okay. For two tails, it will be plus minus 2.26. Remember, you will find, dekho, you will find the any single values from the T table. Yourself, you will mark plus minus in case of the two tail. In case of greater than or equal to, you will mark only a single value. Okay, you will write only a single value. So now compare here. What about this one? So we will have 5% and 9. So I am just drawing here critical region. What about this critical region? Critical region is that one point, sorry, 2.26 plus and minus 2.26. Clear? So this is 0. What about your T calculated? Your T calculated will be like here. So this is T equal to will lie here minus 1.6. Okay. It is between of 0 and minus 2.6 and less than this one. So that is acceptance region except H0 and reject H1. Clear? Accept H0 and reject H1. Now, so that is your first part of the question. Okay, what is our claim? our claim is that कि either you are accepting H naught or H1. So now we concluded here कि we have accepted H naught and rejected H1. Clear? So now second part is that कि you have to draw a confidence interval. So for the confidence interval we are writing here confidence. Okay, confidence interval. So now the confidence interval, again you have the same kind of the formula is what? What is the formula of the confidence interval is x bar minus t alpha by 2. Clear? C t alpha by 2. What about the t alpha by 2? Similarly into s upon n less than mu less than x bar plus t alpha by 2 into s n. So calculate here, just write the mean values is 198.2, this value minus 2.26, and again this value is what we have calculated, this value is 3.3 divided by 10, 3.3 divided by square root of 10 less than mu, and similarly what about this one, 198.2 minus plus 2.26 into 3.3 divided by 10. Okay, so you can finally you will have this answer. What is your answer? Just a minute. Finally you will have 1958 mu and 200. 195.8 mu less than 200.6. 200.6. Clear? So this is your answer. You got my point? So now we have completed this question. Testing of T-test chapter number 8 from your book, and how you will apply the confidence interval concept here, how you will apply the T statistics or the acceptance of the H naught and H1. You can do it for the greater than and less than as well. Okay, so but one important thing to select how you will decide कि you will apply a t-test, though it is one important thing कि your number of observations should be less than 30. If your number of observation are greater than 30, so you will apply the z test. So same kind of practice you can do yourself for the z test. Z test is just simple, just I am going to write here the z test. So for the z test you will apply z for z test here for z test z equal to x bar minus mu upon sigma over n. Okay, n greater than equal to 30. That is the case of the z test. Same kind of things you apply. You can apply for confidence interval. Instead of t here you will have a z. Okay, and instead of s here you will have a sigma. Number of observation will be greater than and equal to 30, and same things you can apply for the z test to test the hypothesis. Either you are accepting the null hypothesis or you are rejecting the null hypothesis. Okay, so that was from my side. Thank you so much. Please subscribe my channel. Allah Hafiz.